Imagine if there was one single food, something you probably already have in your kitchen right now, that could calm inflammation in your gut, sharpen your thinking, and slow down the aging process in your body, all at the same time. It sounds too good to be true, but functional medicine pioneer Dr. Mark Hyman has spent decades studying exactly this. And what he's found about the deep connection between what you eat, your brain, and your gut might completely change the way you think about your next meal. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to put on your plate every single day to start healing your body from the inside out. Welcome to VitaRoot Health, the channel dedicated to bringing you real, practical wellness advice, grounded in what leading doctors and researchers actually recommend. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've been with us for a while, you already know we love breaking down complex health science into simple, doable daily habits. Today we're diving into the eating philosophy of Dr. Mark Hyman, a practicing physician, founder of the Ultra Wellness Center, and one of the most well-known voices in functional medicine, who has spent his career arguing that food isn't just fuel. It's information that directly instructs your cells, your gut bacteria, and yes, even your brain. Let's get into it. The foundation of Dr. Hyman's approach starts with a concept that sounds almost too simple: real food. Not a supplement, not a fad diet, not a powder you mix into water, but whole, minimally processed ingredients that your great-grandparents would recognize as food. He often points out that the modern diet, filled with refined sugar, industrial seed oils, and heavily processed grains, has quietly rewired our biology in ways that show up as fatigue, brain fog, bloating, and chronic disease. So before we get into specific foods, the underlying principle is this: if it comes in a box with a long ingredient list full of words you can't pronounce, your body probably doesn't recognize it as food, and that confusion creates inflammation. Inflammation, according to this line of thinking, is the common thread connecting a struggling gut, a foggy brain, and a body that feels older than it should. Now let's talk about healthy fats, because this is one area where Dr. Hyman has pushed back hard against decades of conventional advice. For years, people were told fat was the enemy, that low-fat diets were the key to health. But your brain is roughly 60% fat, and it needs a steady supply of the right kinds of fat to function properly. Foods like avocados, olives and olive oil, nuts, and seeds provide monounsaturated fats and omega-3 fatty acids that essentially act as building blocks for brain cell membranes. These fats support memory, learning, and mental clarity, and they also help your body absorb fat-soluble vitamins from other foods you eat. So instead of reaching for a low-fat yogurt or fat-free salad dressing, the recommendation here is to embrace good fats as a daily staple, whether that's a spoonful of olive oil drizzled over vegetables, a handful of walnuts as a snack, or half an avocado added to your morning eggs. Next comes protein, and this one matters more than most people realize, especially as we age. Research has linked diets rich in protein to a reduced risk of cognitive decline later in life, largely because protein provides the amino acids your brain needs for neurons to communicate with each other effectively. Beyond the brain, protein is essential for maintaining muscle mass. And here's the part that surprises people: losing muscle as you age doesn't just weaken your body, it accelerates aging in general and puts additional strain on your brain and metabolism. The general guidance is to aim for a solid dose of protein at every single meal, not just dinner. Think eggs or a protein shake at breakfast, fatty fish like salmon or sardines for lunch, and lean meats, legumes, or plant-based protein sources like lentils and beans throughout the day. The goal isn't to eat like a bodybuilder. It's to consistently give your body and brain the raw materials they need to repair and rebuild. The third pillar is colorful plant foods, and this is where the gut and brain connection becomes impossible to ignore. Vegetables and fruits in a wide range of colors aren't just visually appealing on your plate. Each color represents different families of phytonutrients and antioxidants that support different aspects of your health. Eating a diverse array of plant foods feeds the trillions of bacteria living in your gut. And here's the key insight functional medicine keeps emphasizing. Your gut microbiome doesn't just handle digestion. It communicates directly with your brain through what's called the gut-brain axis. A diverse, well-fed microbiome produces compounds that reduce inflammation throughout your entire body, including your brain, while a starved, imbalanced microbiome does the opposite. So filling the majority of your plate with colorful vegetables, leafy greens, berries, and other whole plant foods isn't just about vitamins. It's about actively cultivating a healthier internal ecosystem that keeps inflammation low and your mood and cognition more stable. This naturally leads us to fiber, which deserves its own spotlight because most people drastically underestimate how important it is. Fiber found in vegetables, legumes, fruits, and whole grains acts as food for your beneficial gut bacteria. Without enough fiber, those helpful bacterial populations shrink, while less beneficial strains can take over, contributing to bloating, irregular digestion, and low-grade inflammation that can eventually affect your energy and even your mental clarity. Foods like flax seeds, chia seeds, artichokes, lentils, and leafy greens are particularly rich sources. The interesting thing here is that fiber isn't just about keeping things moving. It's about literally feeding an entire ecosystem inside you that influences everything from your immune system to your mood. Now, let's address the flip side, because healing your brain and gut isn't only about what you add, it's also about what you remove. Sugar and refined starches are repeatedly flagged as major culprits behind inflammation, and there's a reason for that. When you consume large amounts of sugar or foods that quickly break down into sugar like white bread or pastries, your blood sugar spikes and then crashes, and over time, this roller coaster damages blood vessels, disrupts your gut lining, and contributes to the kind of chronic low-grade inflammation that's been linked to everything from brain fog to more serious long-term health conditions. This doesn't mean you need to obsess over every gram of sugar, but being mindful of how often processed sugary foods appear in your daily diet and looking for ways to swap them out for whole food alternatives can make a measurable difference over time. Hydration is another piece of this puzzle that gets overlooked constantly. Many people walk around mildly dehydrated without even realizing it, and that chronic low-level dehydration has been associated with reduced diversity in the gut microbiome, meaning a less resilient, less balanced gut. Simply making sure you're drinking enough water throughout the day, along with adequate electrolytes, supports better digestion and a healthier gut environment, which circles back once again to that gut-brain connection we keep coming back to. One more concept worth mentioning is the idea of an elimination approach for people dealing with persistent symptoms like bloating, fatigue, skin issues, or brain fog that haven't responded to other changes. Rather than guessing at which specific food might be causing a reaction, temporarily removing common trigger foods like gluten or dairy for a short period and then slowly reintroducing them can help identify personal sensitivities that might be quietly driving inflammation. This isn't meant to be a permanent restrictive diet for everyone. It's presented as a short-term diagnostic tool to understand your own body better, since everyone's biology and reactions to specific foods can differ. Putting this all together, a typical day built around these principles might look something like this. You start your morning with eggs cooked in olive oil alongside some sautéed greens, or a protein-rich smoothie with nut butter, berries, and flaxseed for added fiber. For lunch, a big colorful salad loaded with mixed vegetables, a source of protein like grilled salmon or chickpeas, and a generous drizzle of olive oil. Snacks throughout the day might include a handful of nuts, some sliced vegetables, or a piece of fruit. Dinner rounds things out with another source of quality protein, a variety of colorful vegetables, and perhaps a serving of legumes or whole grains if your body tolerates them well. Sugary drinks and processed snacks get replaced with water, herbal tea, or naturally flavored sparkling water. It's not about perfection or complicated meal plans. It's about consistently leaning toward real, whole, colorful, fiber-rich food and away from processed sugar and refined starches, meal after meal, day after day. What makes this approach compelling isn't a single miracle ingredient. It's the cumulative effect of these small daily choices working together. Healthy fats nourish your brain cell membranes, protein supports both muscle and cognitive function, colorful plants and fiber feed a diverse gut microbiome that communicates directly with your brain. Hydration keeps that whole system running smoothly, and cutting back on sugar and processed starches removes one of the biggest daily sources of inflammation most people don't even realize they're consuming. Individually, each of these habits sounds almost too simple to matter, but together they represent a genuinely different way of eating, one that treats food as medicine rather than just something to fill you up between meetings. As with any significant dietary change, especially if you have existing health conditions or you're taking medication, it's worth having a conversation with your doctor before making major adjustments, since individual needs can vary quite a bit from person to person. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you found this breakdown useful, do us a favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps this information reach more people who could benefit from it. Drop a comment down below and let us know which of these habits you're going to try first. We read every single one. And if you haven't already, subscribe to VitaRoot Health so you never miss out when we break down the next big topic in nutrition and wellness. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of your gut, your brain, and your body, and we'll see you in the next video.